Hey, welcome to the Oakley Podcast, man. I appreciate everybody listening and watching this. You can always go to YouTube and watch us if you'd like to do that. But, man, we come out every Wednesday with a new episode. And it's on, wherever you find your podcast, whether it's Apple, Spotify, whatever. But I appreciate it. I want to try to get it out to as many truck drivers as I can, because I tell you guys all the time, we want this to help owner-operators, specifically independent contractors, be successful. And I try to give you good content. I try to come up with, things that I think will help you. And that's what we're doing today, still at the Mid-America Truck Show, and I'm sitting down with Joe Hoovestol. Is that right, Joe? Say that last name right?
Yep,
and
perfect.
Joe is, you the owner?
Yes.
Is owner of Lone Mountain Truck Leasing. And I know some of you just now probably went, what? I thought Jeremy hated truck leasing. Okay, I do, but this is a whole different deal that Lone Mountain does, and we've actually known each other for a long time. We kind of took a gap there where we didn't do much business, but years ago we went to dinner with you, Joe, in Dallas, Texas. How long ago you think that was?
Probably 5-6 years ago.
And then we haven't done much since, but he answered my request to do an episode on the Oakley Podcast, so here he is. Joe, I appreciate you doing it, man.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, if you would, give our listeners a little bit of who you are.
Sure. So I'm Joe Hoovestol. I've been working for Lone Mountain since about 2008. Kind of grew up in trucking. My dad had trucks when I was a kid, so grew up riding along with him, and then worked in the shop starting probably when I was 11 or 12, which might have violated some child labor laws. But so I started out changing tires, changing oil, stuff like that. When I got probably to high school-ish, I started working in the office, brokering some loads, like if we had backhauls and stuff like that. So they haul mail for the Postal Service. So if we had just a one-way, then I would try and find something coming back.
So your dad had a trucking company?
Yeah, still does.
Oh, still does.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. So they just haul for the Postal Service. But so, yeah, kind of started doing that. And then after college, I did a short internship, and then I started working for Lone Mountain, and kind of as a temporary thing, and didn't end up being so temporary.
Right.
So.
Where you live at?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. Family?
I just have a sister and brother-in-law and they have 2 kids, and I'm about to get married in about a month. So
You are?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thanks.
Big step right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Looking forward to it, right?
Yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, it will be. Oh, fun's in there. Yeah, it's some fun. Yeah. It can be a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'd say fun's part of it, for sure, Joe.
Good.
Tell me a little bit of the history of how Lone Mountain got started.
Sure. Quite a while ago, my dad had his family had a Mack dealership in Montana, and they were the Mack dealership of the year, which my dad said, when you're the Mack dealership of the year, that means you probably paid too much for all the trades you took in. So had a lot of trades that he was kind of upside down on, and so he kind of started leasing them out one by one to owner-operators. Couldn't really get any good wholesale bids on them. So kind of just started leasing those out to owner-operators. Ended up kind of basically breaking even on them. So then he kind of came up with the idea then, geez, if I had paid what they were actually worth, I would have made something on them instead of doing all this work to break even. So kind of did it over the years with his trucking company, just here and there. When I started in 2008, they had about 200 trucks leased out.
Really?
We got up to, I think our peak was right kind of at the beginning of COVID, we were up to about 6,500 trucks leased out. So then we've gone down a ways since then, because kind of like a bank, when you're not putting on new loans and people are just paying off the loans, then your whole portfolio decreases, obviously. So, but we're starting to build that back up now. So,
are you seeing? That's a good point. Are you seeing
guys
paying it off and keeping trucks longer?
Well, most of our guys end up paying off the truck and end up actually owning the truck. So I didn't look on our website. We have like it's an odometer, but we're up to almost 12,000 owner-operators that have paid off a truck with Lone Mountain and actually got the title.
Wow.
So yeah, most of our guys do pay it off. If people get to the end, we we mentioned to them if they were thinking about trading in, they should do it before they pay off, because in a lease, then if they trade it in, then they don't have to pay the sales tax. If they pay it off, get the title, then they have to title it in their name, pay the sales tax, so they can kind of avoid that if they do it before they actually make their last payment.
You have a lot of repeat customers?
Yeah, quite a few.
Yeah.
We've talked to quite a few of them that are here at the show, so it's really cool to see people that have bought several trucks from us, and it's good to see the success stories.
Yeah, isn't it though? That makes it all worthwhile when you can actually see success that you're being part of it. So Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer strives to take care of our owner-operators as quickly and accurately as possible. As a family-owned and operated company, they understand and value the importance of relationships just like we do. That is why Oakley owner-operator Joe Williams continues to return to their shop for service on his truck.
I've been with Oakley Trucking for 2 years in this April, first-time owner-operator. It was a shock, the maintenance and the repairs on it, because I've never done anything like this before. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to try that Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer, because they're so convenient. They're right there off the interstate, right down the road from Oakley Trucking. And I talked to Nathan, and being an owner-operator, he tries to get the owner-operators in and out as quick as possible, because he knows if we're not rolling, we're not making money. If they tell me they can get my truck in at a certain time, they get it in at a certain time. If they tell me, well, it'll be ready at this time, it's ready at that time. So I can really count on them. They're competitive with anybody around, probably better than most.
Next time your truck needs service, give Central Arkansas Truck and Trailer a call at 501-568-2185 and let them know you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast. What's different about Lone Mountain Truck Leasing? The leasing companies I always hear about are a little bit maybe shady, maybe a weekly payment, overpriced, taking advantage of owner-operators. And I say that, that's kind of the reputation, I guess, leasing gets out there. But tell us what's different about Lone Mountain.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, there's definitely a stigma for sure. So saying that, leasing is bad, I think there are a lot of not very good leasing programs. There's some trucking company leasing programs that are geared definitely for the advantage of the trucking company, not the driver. So kind of what sets us apart, we're sort of like a CarMax type. There's no negotiating. We list all the price. Everything's included in the price. So on a new truck, for example, FET, warranty, there's no interest charges. If it says it's $3,000 a month for 60 months on a new truck, that's all you pay. There's no starting at or as low as or all those buzzwords. We don't do any of that. So it's basically, here's the price. If you get approved for financing, you fill out an application with us. If you're approved for any truck we have. So here's the down payment, here's the monthly payments, here's the number of payments. Once you make those payments, you own the truck and you get the title.
So you're carrying the note.
Yes.
You're the lien holder until the truck is paid for. Then then you sign it over to them after the truck's paid.
Once they make the last payment, then we sign over the title to them.
Okay.
And like I said, we have about 12,000
that have paid it off,
that have actually made it to the end. So we're pretty proud of that. So I think there's a lot of leasing companies that might not have 12 total.
Right.
So
yeah, because they typically don't stay in there very long.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like a lot of them are taking advantage of some.
Or a lot of them have a big balloon payment at the end. We don't have any of that. So, look, I would say kind of what sets us apart is we don't have all those other strings attached. It's you make these amount of payments and then you own the truck at the end.
Is it difficult to get approved with you guys?
No, I mean, we like to see that people have a good work history, that they're not bouncing, but if they're a lease driver, that they're not bouncing between company to company. So if somebody said, hey, I've been at Oakley for 5 years and I'm going to stay there and I'm looking for a truck, obviously that would be a pretty good one to see. If somebody says, hey, I've been a company driver for a year and I'm going to get my own authority, obviously that's kind of the other end of the spectrum where, they would have to be extremely strong in other areas. Whereas if the guy says, yeah, I've been at Oakley for 5 years and I'm staying there, we would be a little more lenient on some of the other areas.
So they actually have to, do they put all that, you ask for that on your application as far as their work history?
Yeah, so we get their work history. We actually do an interview with every customer as well. So we call them up, we go over their work history, what their maintenance plan is, and then their plan to go to what they're planning to actually haul, stuff like that. So we go over that.
And that's a lot like Oakley. We got to get to know the person before we're going to say, hey, come on, we'll take you on. We want to know a little bit more about them.
Yeah.
You have to have those phone calls. You have to ask those tough questions.
Because like us, you want to get. Our leases are 3 to 5 years, depending on the truck. So, we're going to be in a relationship with this person for 3 to 5, well, hopefully more than 5. Hopefully they get their next truck from us and it's even longer than that. But like you guys, you don't want a guy that's going to be there for 6 months. You want a guy that's going to be there for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
That's right. Do you do new and used or just new?
We do new and used.
Okay.
So kind of depending on the market, we'll lean heavily or more heavily towards one or the other. But right now we're doing both, new and used. So we're finding decent deals on used. I would say earlier this year, used was a lot better deal. Now new is kind of, I would say, it's kind of a tough choice right now. So we kind of say in our mind, okay, if we were buying a truck, would we buy a new or a used at the moment? And kind of whatever that is, that's where we lean our inventory more heavily towards.
Okay. Or when a guy purchases a truck from you, guy or gal, is there any kind of service contract, or it's hey, this is what it costs, here's the warranty, that's your independent contractor, this is your baby now?
Yep. So we basically, we're pretty much hands off.
There's no crazy escrow accounts or this maintenance account or.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where a lot of the leasing companies, because we hear the horror stories about that as well. It's, I built up $8,000 in a maintenance account and then they quit giving me loads, or I wanted to take the truck somewhere else, and then the $8,000 vanishes. So we don't really do any of that on our used trucks. On basically all of our used trucks right now, we're buying factory warranty, so it's 2-year engine and after treatment for pretty much all of our used trucks, and that's factory warranty. So it's typically better than the third party. I mean, it costs quadruple what the third party. I mean, it's not cheap and it adds a lot to the payment, but we think it's worth it. We think it's kind of protects our guys against that catastrophic failure. So engine after treatment, obviously everybody knows those are pretty common maintenance, especially the after treatment. So we want to kind of protect our guys against that. If you have the warranty doesn't cover a headlight, but we think you should probably be able to cover that if you're an owner-operator. So, but if you have a truck for 3 months and, you need an entire after-treatment system, we probably don't expect you to be able to handle that, no problem. So, we kind of do that as a way to mitigate some of those risks.
What's your opinion, just not to get too off track here, but what's your opinion on all this after-treatment stuff on these trucks that they've changed over the years? You've seen it. You're dealing with it every day. I mean, we're dealing with it at Oakley that these owner-operators sometimes have a tough time keeping trucks going. They have so many problems, sensors, after-treatment stuff. What's y'all's experience with that?
Well, we've had a lot. We sell quite a few trucks, so we deal with after-treatment a lot. It's... kind of anytime you add anything to a machine, it's one more thing that can break. And the after treatment keeps getting more and more complicated. The standards that it needs to meet keep rising, so they have to kind of re-engineer it. It's it's a problem. I think if you ask any owner-operator, what's your biggest maintenance issue, or what's the first thing you'd get rid of on the truck, I think almost everybody would say after treatment. So, and the diesel engines today are fairly clean anyway. So, I mean, you're making it a little better, but you're adding a lot of cost. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, obviously.
No, I know, and I'm not either, and that's a whole nother episode. We could get off into that stuff. I mean, it is sure enough very frustrating.
We do have some of our customers, especially guys, some people do like trade shows, stuff like that, where they're, driving for a day or two and then they're idling for 3 or 4 days. A lot of those guys end up getting APUs just because of the after treatment. You have so many problems. The idling is the worst thing you can do on an after treatment
That
system.
is the dumbest thing, to create a product for a truck driver and idling it is a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get that, because they've got to idle. I mean,
exactly.
They've got to stay warm, to stay cool, keep the truck running. I mean, in real cold temperatures, to keep it, so it doesn't freeze up and stuff. I mean, I'll never understand all of that. But hey, we're in it. We're dealing with it. You're dealing with it. What kind of trucks do you specialize in, Brant?
We have everything.
Do you?
So, kind of whatever the best deal is at the time. Again, we kind of look at, okay, what would we buy right now? Sometimes a Freightliner is more than a Peterbilt. Sometimes a Peterbilt's the best deal you can get. Sometimes an International's the best deal you can get. It kind of depends on just on the time. So used, we do everything. Currently, right now on new, we have Kenworth and Volvos. Those are the only new trucks we have right now. The 860 Volvo, which is kind of the big one. A lot of people like that one. And then the T680 for the Kenworth. But yeah, used, we pretty much do everything for used. Yep.
I guess do you buy new ones in bulk?
Yeah.
Pretty much?
Yeah, so we buy, I don't know, typically we'd buy like at least 100 of one kind of truck. They're all basically exactly the same. We do some different colors and stuff, but in general, they're mainly all the same truck. So all of our T680s have the Cummins engine. They're all auto shift transmissions. The Volvo all have the Volvo engine and the I-shift. So they're pretty much all the same except for the color. So we try and spec it as good as we can, so that it's kind of it's a fairly good truck.
Fits most applications.
Pretty much everybody, yeah.
Yeah, because I know some of them can get specific, but do you, can a guy order his own truck, or he's going to have to pick what you got?
Typically we just order
the same.
The same of what we have. That we have done it in the past, and then we have a guy that's you get this, not quite Frankenstein, but it's like, okay, no, I want that this different alternator, and I want that different fifth wheel, and this, that, and this. Then so he wants to change all this stuff, and it might not necessarily even be more expensive. It's just different, and then a month later, it's like, well, I'll just take the one you got, because now I have to wait 4 months to get the crazy one, and now you have to let every salesperson know, okay, we do have this weird one that's different from every other. So we just kind of go with, okay, this truck we think it's pretty good for every application. That's what we try and spec it for. The huge majority of our customers, they're not doing crazy heavy haul type stuff, so we try and make it so that it's pretty good for everybody.
Standard road, over the road truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
At Aero Truck Sales in Springfield, Missouri, they take the hassle out of buying and selling semi-trucks. No matter the manufacturer, the style of cab, or the type of engine under the hood, they can make you a fair offer on your semi-truck with no games or gimmicks. They carry trucks from all the major manufacturers in the trucking industry and perform a thorough inspection of every truck on their lot to ensure safety and quality and give you confidence that you're getting a reliable truck that will last you for years at a price that you can afford. Aero has partnered with Oakley Trucking and the Oakley Podcast for years and are proud to provide our owner-operators with trucks that meet Oakley's qualifications and each owner-operator's specific needs. So whether you're a first-time owner-operator or just looking for a change of scenery, give Keith Wilson a call at 573-216-6047 and let them know you heard it here on the Oakley Podcast.
Do you get into do you have any what we call mid-roofs?
Yes.
You do deal in those too?
We get some new ones sometimes, but typically used ones.
Okay.
So we've bought quite a few from PACCAR over the last year. I won't say the companies they're from because you guys probably hate them, but yes, we do get quite a few mid-roofs.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Actually, like this last year is probably the most mid-roofs we've ever had. We've had several groups of like 30 to 50 trucks that we've brought in their only mid-roofs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Y'all, do you sell to companies too? Sell trucks to
Yes.
trucking companies?
We have several. I mean, the huge majority of our customers are one guy,
Okay.
one truck. But we do have some guys that have. I mean, we have a couple that have like 200 trucks.
Oh, really?
You know,
Okay.
they mostly buy new trucks from us, but some of them buy used as well. But
So
the huge majority.
you
is just
pretty
one
much
guy, one.
specialize in the independent contractor then. That's
Yes.
what you're looking at every day.
Yep.
That's good that somebody's out there trying to help them get in a truck. Are you seeing? I'm kind of seeing, Joe, less people getting in the independent contractor business. What are you seeing on your end?
Our applications have been pretty good, but you had probably 2.5 years ago now where, well, 3 years ago for sure, when everything was just going crazy.
Everybody and their brother was trying to get in.
I mean, basically, if the hardest part about trucking was finding a truck at that time. So if you could find a truck, I mean, you were going to make money no matter what. So, and now you might be a great operator and you might not make a ton. So you kind of have the shift of that, and some of that does need to get weeded out. Like you said, when everybody and their brother jumps into the industry, some of that has to get weeded out. So I think that's kind of what we're going through right now.
Yeah, I think you might be right on some of that.
And with the truck pricing, obviously you had, for 2 years, trucks were about triple the high of that I've seen before that. They were literally triple what that was. So, you had a lot of guys that paid that huge amount of money, and if you got in at the beginning, it probably paid for itself because you could grab $5 a mile freight off of any load board doing van stuff. If you paid the high price and got in at the end right before the dip, now those guys are just getting totally crushed because it's like you paid the high truck price, but you didn't get the benefit of the 2 years of just being able to name your price.
And now they're way upside down.
Yeah.
Can't get out of it probably.
Exactly. So you have a lot of lenders, I think, now that are, they're having to deal with a lot of that because it's like, if you were a bank at that time, you might have looked at, a guy comes in and says, hey, I want to finance this $100,000 truck for, it has 500,000 miles on it and it's $100,000. Well, if you've been in the industry a lot, you would say, geez, that's crazy to pay $100,000 for a 500,000 mile truck. But at the time, if you just looked at auction results and stuff like that, you might say, oh, that's what it's worth. And it was worth that at that time. But then obviously that's a lot more than it ever had been worth.
Yeah, and we've talked about that before of guys getting stuck with that when they and we knew you don't need to buy at the high. I mean, try to get by where you can because it's going to come back down. The truck prices have always seemed to, especially the used is real volatile.
Yeah.
I guess the new just keeps going up, don't they?
Pretty much. I've said that to some of the new truck guys because now we're getting some tariff.
I was going to ask you, is that making any difference?
So pretty much everybody wants more now. And I kind of mentioned, I'm like, well, remember when during COVID, when we had the supply chain issues and all the new trucks went up like $25,000 a truck, but then the supply chain issues went away, but for some reason the $25,000 didn't go. That's just stayed there. So the new trucks have a way of just keep going up.
That's exactly right. That's what happened, and you thought the price of new trucks was going to come down, and they haven't.
It just stayed.
They just stayed, and I guess the demand is still there. I don't know. We have guys buying new trucks every week.
Yeah.
It's 4 or 5 a week that are getting in a new truck, and 200,000 plus for a truck. Just depends on what they, which one they pick. But.
Yep. I mean, we had that, with new trucks, it is weird because you would think that, but so if our new trucks go up because of the tariffs, obviously that should make used go up as well because they just kind of are a function of each other. So I'm kind of hoping not, and I have it's kind of weird for us to figure out what we're rooting for because obviously in a good truck market meaning high, we don't really want to buy a ton of trucks in that market because we know it's going to come down and we know it's not the greatest deal for our customers. We know our customer, in general, but that means it's a good freight market. So typically our other customers are doing well. They have equity in their trucks. So it's kind of weird. And then when it's bad, obviously that means truck prices are low, probably freight rates are low. So that means our customers aren't doing as well. But it's like trucks are cheap, so we want to buy a lot of them because, you want to buy a lot at the bottom so you can get them out to people, and then they have an advantage over all the people that bought them at the high end. Yep. So it's kind of hard you never really hit it both ways, basically.
Right. Well, it's the truck market is always fascinating to me to learn because it's kind of unpredictable, and
very.
And it's changing all the time, I'm glad to see there's some good leasing companies out there, or at least one I know of. Lone Mountain. Tell everybody where you're located and how to get in touch with you.
Sure. You can just check out lonemountaintruck.com, lmtleasing.com, or you can give us a call, 866-512-5685. And we can let you know anything we have. We'll let you know what inventory we have currently, what we have coming in. We have 3 locations, Tifton, Georgia, Southern Georgia, and Fort Worth, Texas, and then Carter Lake, Iowa, which is it's on the Omaha side. Long story, there was a big flood back in the day, and the river changed directions, so it's called Iowa, but it's actually on the Nebraska side of the river. So fun little geography fact.
I went to, off the subject, I went to Dubuque, Iowa a week ago, I guess it was, for one night.
That's on the other end.
That's on the other end, isn't it? But I was, this is the first time I'd ever been there, and I tell you what, it was pretty nice. I thought, man, this is a nice, quiet town, seemed like. Traffic wasn't crazy. If it wasn't for the cold, it might be a good place to be. But
yeah, we got plenty of that.
You got plenty of that. Is that you live up there?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. So I think it was like 2 weeks ago. It was 70 one day, and then we had a blizzard the next 2 weeks ago. So people were literally golfing the one day, and then it was a giant blizzard, and there were 6 inches of snow on the ground the next day. So yeah, we get some weird weather there.
Well, Joe, I appreciate you sitting down and explaining Lone Mountain Truck Leasing. I hope it helps our listeners. I hope you get some business out of it because it's, to me now, I mean, you sound like you're trying to help these guys be successful in what they're doing and not taking advantage of them.
Yep.
And I commend you for that, to being in the leasing game that's got the stigma. I mean, that's a tough place to be, but it sounds like, I mean, you've been doing it a long time. You know what's going on. You got a thumb on the market, and you know how to take care of owner operators. So
that's what we try to do.
Man, I appreciate you sitting down with me and doing this. Really means a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for listening to the Oakley Podcast. I appreciate it. Hey, this is a great episode. I never thought I'd be bringing on a leasing company, but, we go way back, and I can tell you they're good people, and they got a good history, and I recommend you checking them out. Appreciate everybody listening to the Oakley Podcast. We'll talk to you next week.